Hi everyone. Uh, I guess I have some video issues where I'm unable to share my video. So let me start with the session. Before starting the session, so what I've thought is uh, I'll be completing the scripting part in two sessions, including Servicenow Scripting, a basic part. But uh, I've seen much response from the users, so I thought of extending the scripting part. So today also I'll be teaching the scripting part, and I'm even extending it to two more sessions. So you'll have the session tomorrow and also day after tomorrow as well. So at the same time. And also, if you have any comments or feedback, if you are hesitated to post it in the video, I mean below the YouTube video, you can also use the link that I've given in the description, where you can just post it anonymously. Like if you wanted to just say something, you can just post it anonymously. Your name won't be recorded there. So that's an option of giving a feedback. Your feedback is much valuable so that I can improve in the next session. Okay, so let's quickly start the session. Just a minute. Yeah, so yesterday we were discussing about data types, uh, conditional statements, and looping statements. So let's just continue with those topics. Uh, Coming on to for looping and conditional statement, let's use it in combination. So yesterday what we have learned switching statements, and we have even learned even or odd, right? So there is a script where we are giving a number and then we are checking whether that is divisible by 2. If that is divisible by 2, we are printing even, or we are printing odd. So I'm just rewriting the script again, where x equals to 3. I'm just giving, let's take it as prompt as we have learned it. Please enter a number, and then f x percentile 2, which means if the remainder is 0, then I'm just opening and closing the bracket here, and here you'll be printing uh, console.log of x plus, I'm just printing even. This is what we have learned yesterday as well. So we are writing an else statement as well and checking that and printing it as is odd. So that's what we are doing. So let's uh, oh, I did not give a double quotes here. I didn't close it. I'm closing it. So I'm just entering the number as 4. So it's giving me 4 is even. So I'll just enter it again to double check. I'll just give 3, which should give 3 is odd. So it's working perfectly. Right? Now, let's say if you wanted, you're just printing whether the given number is even or odd, right? So now what is my requirement is, I'll give a number, till that number how many even numbers are there. Those all even numbers I need to print, and if it's not even, I need to print that as an odd number. So let's say the example is, let's say I'm giving 5 as a number. Okay, let's say uh, let's take it from 1 till 5. If I'm giving input as 5, it should check 1 if it's prime or even or odd, 2 even or odd, 3 even or odd, 4, like that till 5. So what is happening here? From 1 till 5, you're repeating that particular thing, right? So what you need to do, so you're taking that in an input. Let's say x equals to prompt, please enter a number. Next, you need to go from 1 till this particular number, right? So from 1, right? So you need to write a looping statement where for where I equals to 0. I'm just using I as a variable. Sorry, I equals to from 1 it has to repeat. So I equals to 1 till where I should be less than or equals to whatever the number we are entering in X here, till there it needs to repeat. Okay, it is repeating. So it is from 1 to next number should be 2, right? So it should be added by 1. So you should write I plus plus. Okay. Next, this whole code is doing the execution part, right? I mean, it is checking whether that is even or not. Right? I'm just reusing the same code. Okay. So here, what number should be checked? I should be checked here, right? So you just need to check first I. If I percentile 2 equals to 0, then I is even. Because you need to check first I. It's checking. As this is satisfying, it's printing 1 is even. If it's not, then it will print as odd. So next it will take 2, because you have I plus plus, it will take 2, and then it will check again, and then it will print it accordingly. Okay. So if I execute this and press enter, I'll just give the number as 5. That's giving 5 is even, 5 is odd. Why? Because we have written here X rather than writing I. Because we need to print I, right? Not X. X is the number which we are entering. So I'll just, so let's say 5. You see here 1 is odd, 2 is even, 3 is odd, 4 is even, 5 is odd. So in this way, we are able to get the looping statement. So basically why I've told this thing is, whenever you are going from one number to another number, let's say from 1 to 10, you need to assume you are saying that it should be from 1 to 10. So always you should get that I need to write a for loop. Open that and close it. Next, what is that? What should I do with this looping? So let's say you're taking from 1 to 10, right? So each value you need to check. So each value in the sense you need to check this I, right? So that's what we are doing it here, and we have written the console statements. So this is what we wanted. Okay. So by this, we have used conditional statement with a looping statement as next. So we have seen number, to store a number, how do you write var x equals to 1, right? If you want to store a string, how do you store var y equals to test? If you wanted to print x, what do you do? Console dot log of x, so that you'll get x. Let's say if you wanted to print y, you'll just write y, right? So that whatever you have given, you've got that printed. Let's say if you wanted to, let's say you have 3 cards, okay, and you wanted to store that in a variable. Let's say you have 3 cards stating BMW, Audi, and Hyundai, okay. Or let's say we have car 1. Let me write it the whole way. Where car 1 equals to, let's make it a starter as 1 car model, and the other is where car 3 is Audi, right? So to print each of the, so you have used 3 variables to store 3 car names, right? Let's say you have 10 cars. Let's say you are working in a car company. Let's say you are just being a pre-owned company. So at that point of time, you will have so many cars, right? And you need to store that values. If you want to store those values, you need to use multiple variables. So let's say if you have 30 models, you need to use 30 variables, right? So to avoid that declaring 30 variables, what we have is we have a concept called arrays. So how arrays will work is, so you have declared this car 1, car 2, car 3, right? So these are all a similar data type, which means you're just mentioning regarding car models, I mean car brand names, right? So you can combine all these with var. Let's say these are all cars, right? So I'll just say var cars equals to, so array will be starting with a box bracket. Okay, so first car is Tata, second car is BMW, and third car is Ford. So you need to close it with a box bracket. Okay, so what you have done, rather declaring three variables, you have only declared one variable, right? So in this one variable, you are combining all the similar data types. Data types in the sense similar objects, you can say. It can be anything. Let's say if you wanted to store vegetables, let's say what all the vegetables you have in the fridge. If you want to store that here, so rather declaring each variable and assign that particular vegetable there, you will make that as an array where you'll declare var vegetables equals to carrot, tomato, and all. So in that way, you'll just have one single variable. Now, generally to print this particular car variable, what do? You just write console.log of car1, right? So that you'll just get this car1. I'll just write it here. Right? So in this way, you'll just get this car1 data. I'll just print it. So you're getting this data, right? So this is of car1. So how do you access this particular data? So to access this particular uh, data in an array, what you need to do is, so for printing, I'll just write console.log. So to access this particular one, you have to use cars of, which is box bracket of 0. So how the values will be stored in an array is, this position will be taken it as 0, the index will be 0 for this, and for this it will be 1, and for this it will be 2. So in this way, data will be stored in an array. So to access that, give that variable name and give the index in the box bracket. As it's an array, always remember whenever you are using an array, it's always the box bracket. Okay. So if I write cars of 0, close it. Let's remove all this and let's print it. So you're getting Tata. Okay. Next, let's say you want to get BMW. So just write 1, cars of 1. I mean, in the box bracket, you'll just write 1. So we spell it as cars of 1. So we'll get BMW. Next, cars of 2 will be odd. I missed this. Cars of 2 will be odd. Next, if I try to enter another uh, another index, let's say it has 0, 1, 2. Only 2, till 2 it has, right? If I try to get value of the third indexed array, I won't get it. I get an undefined value because there is no third indexed item. Let's say you have just declared you only have 3 cars. If you are trying to get the third car name, you won't get it because you just have 3 cars. Right? So here, what is the cars? How many cars you have? You have 3 cars, right? So to access them, you need to start it from 0, 1, 2, right? Let's say you wanted to know how many cars you have, right? So you can just write cars.length, which means you're getting the array's length. So which is 3. So by counting, you'll just say there are 3 cars. That's what you say, right? So that's what you get it in the result as. But if you wanted to access, you need to always use of 0 because this this is the 0th position in an array. This is the first position and this is the second position. Okay. So let's say if you wanted to print one after the other, this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, right? So if I write cars of 0, I'll get first one. Cars of 1, I'll get the second one. Next, cars of 2, I'll get the third one, right? So here if you observe, this 0, 1, 2 is getting changed, right? Till cars dot length. So because I have 3 cars, I can only specify 3 numbers, right? So what we can do is, rather printing this statement 3 times, rather writing console.log, 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 these are the statements, right? In these statements, what is common? Cars is common. This index is getting changed from 0 till the length of that particular array, right? So as we have previously learned, what is the value that is getting changed from 0 to 2, right? So as I've mentioned, if you are saying from, what you need to write? You need to write for. For from where I equals to, from 0 it's starting, right? Next, where it is ending? It is ending at 2, right? Which means whatever the length of this car, if it is 3, it is ending at 2, right? So we need to write I should end at car dot length. You should not write equals to here, because car's length is 0, right? Car's length is 3, right? So here we'll be getting 3, but we don't want that 3 to be included, because we are starting the index from 0. So we are doing it from 0, 1, 2, right? So you should write cars dot length. What you will be getting it here? 3. So it will be iterating from 0, 1, 2, and it won't include 3 here, because this condition won't satisfy. So it has to be incremented by 1. So I'll write I plus plus. Okay, so here I'll write console.log of cars, box bracket open and close. So in this place, the 0, 1, 2 is replaced by I, right? So we just need to write I here. That's it. And if I press enter, you see here, all these Tata, BMW, Audi got printed. I'll just remove the spacing and I'll just print it so that you'll be able to see. You see here. So we can get the values inside an array by using a for loop as well. Okay. In this way, we'll be able to get it. Next. So these are cars, right? So let's say you have to specify some features about the cars. Let's say you have one car, and let's say you have a car called Tata. So what you'll say, you just have one car. So car name is Tata, and you just need to specify the color of the car. So where car color equals to white. Let's assume that it's a white color, right? And you say where car uh, type. Let's say that's a electric one. Okay. So what you're doing, you're telling about. I mean, you are trying to store a car details, but you are using different variable names. You can't generally speaking, we can't store this in an array, because you're not talking about a single multiple objects of similar type, which means previously, as I've discussed, if you have vegetables, so those like you have multiple types of vegetables, right? And if you are taking cars, there'll be different types of cars. But here what you're doing, you're defining about that particular car. What is the car name? What is the car color? What is the car type? So this way you're defining about that particular thing, right? So for that, what we use is we use objects. So we are defining something, we are defining the features of an object. So we'll be using objects. So variable can be anything. I'm just using object for a familiarity purpose. So what we will do is we will do it with a curly braces. So array will be always mentioned with a box brace and object will always mentioned with a curly brace. Okay. Next, you're defining that object equals to flower brace open, flower brace close. So there is an object that got created. Now you need to assign car name, car. So as we are talking about a car, let's make this as car. Okay. Now what you can do is you can just write car dot name equals to startup. Next, car dot color equals to white. Next, car dot type equals to electric. Right? So if you have to print here, what you will do, you'll print car name, car color, car type, right? So you have three things to print. So if you wanted to print an object, like if you wanted to uh, know what type of car it is that electric or not? So you wanted to print it. How do you print? So it's similar. As you are assigning it with car dot type, you will access that particular type with dot. So console dot log of uh, car type is, I'm just writing a string there, car dot type. Okay, so that I'll be getting what car type it is. You see, car type is electric. So to access this particular type, we just need to write the object name dot type. Okay, so this is one way of representing an object. We have a different way as well to represent. How that is, where car equals to bracket open. So here you have key value pair. Okay, previously also when we have written key values. What is the key? So let's say we have a name, right? So car name is the key. What is the name of the car? Tata is the name of the car. Next, have a comma here and write. So what is the next feature? Color. So there's the key. What is the color? Color is white. Next, add another. So whenever you're adding a characteristic of an object, you need to always separate that with a comma. Okay. uh, Next, type is electric. So if you see here, we have a key, a value, a key, a value, a key and a value. So values should always be, let's say if you are defining a number, you don't have to keep a double quote as previously discussed. As this is strings, as this is a text, you should always place them in the double quotes or single quote. Anything will work. I'll just use single quotes. Okay. So there's also a way to define a car. So we'll be declaring an object and then we'll be opening the brace and we'll be giving the key colon that particular value. And if you want to add any other characteristics, you'll just separate that with a comma and you'll just write that particular value. Okay. Next, so I'll just separate this statement and then next, if I want to access the name of the car, what do I need to do? I'll just write uh, console dot log of car dot name. That's it. It's simple. Car dot name. So you'll be getting Tata. Right? So let's say if you have three cars. Oh, sorry. You have three cars. Car 1, car 2, and car 3. BMW. mm, Black and red. This is petrol. diesel. Okay. So now, if you wanted to access, like you have three cars, I wanted to know what is the car three. What car is as you have specified as third number. So what do I need to do? Console.log of car3 dot name. So I'll get Audi. So I'll write it as a statement here. Let's say my third car is Audi, and I'll just write it as my third car is Audi, and its color is red, and its type is diesel. So I'll just write it here. My third car is Audi, comma, its color is red, and it's a diesel car. Okay. So if you observe here, this value should not be given in the string. This should not be given in the string, and this should not be given in the string. So what we need to do, this is a separate string and this is a dynamic value, right? So I'll separate this with plus, and I need a comma, right? So I'll separate that with a double quote. So this is separated. I just have given this. So in the same way, I'll just replace. So if I wanted to get Audi here, what do I need to do? I need to do car3 dot name, right? I'll be getting Audi here. Next, its color is red. You need to even replace this, right? So add a double quotes and add plus. Add double quotes and plus. Sorry, plus and double quotes. So you're separating that particular thing. You need to replace this with a variable. What is the variable? It's an object car3 dot color. In the same way, you will even replace this as well. So I'll just write double quotes plus, so that that's separated, and this is also a string again. So I'll just write plus double quotes so that this got separated. Now I'll just write car3 dot what's that type. So I'm not getting a space here, but my third car is Audi. Its color is red, and it's a diesel car. So I did not get a space here. Why? Because I did not give a space here. So let's give a space again here. Let's press enter here. So in this way, you will be able to get the details of that particular car. Okay. So why I have used three cars is, so these are all about cars, right? Again, going back to the arrays concept. So if you are having similar objects, so these are all cars. Rather writing three different variables, you can combine them into one variable, right? How you can do it? Where cars equals to, you need to write it inside this particular brackets, right? So if you want to add a value, what you need to do? You need to separate that with a comma. So cars, like an array can contain, like previously we have seen strings, right? So it's just not strings. You can even do with numbers. You can even do with objects as well. So my car1 is this, right? My car2 is this, car3 is this. So what I need to do is just copy that, paste it here. So this is one object, right? This is one car details. And if I wanted to add a second car, I'll just have a comma. I can even have enter here. I can even write enter, so that it will be in a second column, so that it will be easy for you to read. So what is my third? This is my third one, right? And after each value, right, you need to separate that with a comma. What's the third one? Third one is this, third car, right? So my first car is this, second car is this, third car is this. I've enclosed the whole thing in an array. So what is the car's length? It's 3, right? So car's length is 3. I'll just remove this whole thing so that everything is converted into an object now. Right. Now how to access it? Let's say if you wanted to access the first object, how do you do in an array? Cars of 0. Right? Let's say if I wanted to access the first car, what do I need to do? Car of 0. I'll just write console dot print control dot log of car of 0. So I'll be getting all the cars of 0 object detail. So what this whole thing will be displayed. You see here. So if you get in this way, it's called an object. So you have got all the first car details. So if you want to get the second car details, you just need to write 1, right? And next, if you want to get the third car details, you just need to press 3. Sorry, third car details, the index will be 2, right? So just press 2 so that you'll be getting the second car detail. Okay? So in this way, you will be able to combine arrays and objects as well. As these are cards, I'm just combining it into a single array and I'm storing that here. Let me know if you have any questions in the chat so that we can continue with the next topic. Okay. So coming on to the next thing. So this is all about objects, how to access objects. Let's say if you want to let me even expand this as well. Let's say you wanted to print the name, first car, second car, and third car. Okay, you want to print that way. My first car is this, my second car is this, my third car is this, and its color is this, and its type is this. I want to print in that particular way. How do you do it? You need to print all the cars, right? So it's an array again. How do you access an array? From 0 till 1. So this is 0 position, this is first position, and this is second position, right? From 0 till 1, you need to iterate. For where I equals to 0, I should be less than, till where? Till cards dot length, right? So cards dot length. Till there you need to iterate, and then you need to increase one after the other. Right? So in this, what you need to do, first car is, my first car is console dot log my first car is, as I've already written, I'll just write it directly. So if you wanted to get the first car, what you need to do? You need to do cars of 0, right? So what is car here? If you want to get the second one, it's cars of 1. So what you can write is car of I, because the first car will be 0, right? I mean, the first value is 0. So you'll be writing cars of 0. My first car is 0, cars of 0, which is Tata. And I want to say color is, again I need to print this color, right? So how do I access it? Cars of I plus I need to print the type, and the type is, so whatever the value you get, that's a dynamic value again. So what you'll write, car of I. So here you need to get cars of I dot name. So you have gone into the object, but you need to specify what is the characteristic that you're using, right? So you'll be writing dot name, and color is dot color, and here, and the type is dot type. I'll just print it. So So what is the expected output? So always it will be printing my first car, right? So I need to write here, uh, let's say my car one is. So I need to iterate, let's say car one is this, car two is this, car three is this. So that's what I want to print. So uh, that's also a dynamic value, right? So I'll separate that as well. So here you need to print that one. But if I write I, what will be printed here? It will be car of 0, right? I'll just try to print this. So if you see here, my car 0 is Tata, color is white, and the type is electric. And you've got the other things as well. But what you want, you won't say my first car is this, my second, you'll just say my car 1 is this, car 2 is this, right? You won't say car 0 is, my 0 car is. You won't say that. So to avoid that, what we can do is, so this should be added with 1, right? Enclose that within brackets and write +1. So whatever the value you're getting, you're just adding 1 to it. Okay. So if I just press enter here, you see here my car 1 is Tata, color is white, and the type is electric. Second car is this, color is black. So whatever you have given there, you've got that printed. In this way, you'll be able to uh, access the arrays and also objects as well. Next is, let's say you have a addition. So let's say I'm taking two variables where x equals to 2 and where y equals to 3. Okay. Let's say if you wanted to add it, how do you do it? You'll just write console.log of let's say x plus y, 2 plus 3 is, that's how you write. So I'll just write x plus, so I need to even print plus, right? So I'll just write plus in the double quote so that that plus symbol will be printed with a space. I'll just write, this is a string and this is a variable. I'm concatenating with a plus. And then I need to even print y. What is the y value? I need to write is, right? Or I'll just write equals to is, uh, which is x plus y. Right? So this is how we do it. Let's say 2 plus 3 equals to 5. That's how we have written and we have got it. Let's say you wanted to uh, do it with a two other variables as well. So how do you write it again? So where uh, z equals to, let's not write it in this way here. Rather writing x plus y here, let's combine that here, x plus y, and assign that to z and print it here. The same thing that I've written previously, I've just assigned that to a z variable. So this way you are getting it. Right? So now, let's say if you want to add the other variables as well, let's say you're taking a other variable where a equals to 10, where b equals to 20. Let's say where c equals to a plus b. Okay, and then you are printing the statement as console.log of a and b is c. So that's how you do it. I've just taken two different things. I'm just printing it. Right? 2 plus 3 is 5 and 10 plus 20 is 30. Okay? But if you observe in this particular statement, you are reusing this particular operation multiple times. And you are again rewriting this particular statement twice. Right? Let's say if you wanted to add some 30 operations. Right? So you can't declare these many, I mean, you need to write 30 console statements as well. Right? So to avoid that particular situation, let's say this is an easy addition, just an addition, right? So let's do some maths as well. Let's say this should be divided by 100, and the same operation you are doing it here as well. Okay, so you are doing the same operation but with a different values. So you've got this output, but what is happening here is you're using same operation here twice, right? So if you wanted to change, let's say someone came to us and told that no, this is not the formula and you have to change it. What you need to do? Again, you need to enter. Let's say it should be multiplied by 2, and then it has to be divisible by 100. So again, you need to modify two formulas, right? So as you are seeing, these two formulas are same, and these two statements are also similar. Only these values are getting changed, right? So as we are rewriting the statements, let's say you forgot to change this formula. What will happen? You will get the correct result here, but you won't get the correct result here, right? So for that reason, what you need to do is we have got a concept called functions. Okay, so let's just modify this particular thing. So uh, so we need to write the formula here, which is I need to print this bracket. So I'll just write bracket open plus I'll just print the value plus y is getting printed here. I need to multiply that with 2 and divide it by 100, and I'll get the particular z value, right? So I'll just paste it here so that the bracket will be closed and it will be multiplied by 2. The same thing I'm just pasting here as well, and I'll just add this particular statement here. So you'll understand once I execute this. So I'm just printing exactly whatever we are doing. So 2 plus 3 into 2 divided by 100. So that's coming as 0.1. And 10 plus 20 into 2 by 100, it's giving us 0.3. So whatever we are seeing, these two are similar things, but we are writing multiple times. So if you observe here, I missed changing that particular formula here. So whenever you are using a similar functionalities, rather writing it separately, you can enclose that in a concept called functions. So as these are functioning similar, so you will make that into a function and then you will call it, so that you don't have to, if you want to change it, you will only be changing at one place and then it will be done. The changes will be done. How do you do it? So, oh, sorry. Uh, yeah, how do you do it? Is so you say function, you define a function in this way. So as we are doing some expression, I'll just say expr expression. Let's say calculation. Okay, function calculation. We are just calculating something. So I'm just making it as function. This is the just function name. So whatever name you wanted to, you can give it here. Open bracket and close bracket. So this is the syntax you need to learn. So this is how a function will be defined. So in this, what you need to do, whatever the repetitive thing is there, right? That you need to specify it here. So what is the repetitive thing? This is the repetitive thing. But the variables are changing, that's a different thing. But this is what is getting repeated, right? Let's copy paste that particular one here, right? Next. So this x and y values will be changing, right? This x and y value, and I'll just need to print this particular statement as well. Right? So these two are similar here. So this is similar and also this is similar. These two statements are similar. So I'm just copying one from each. Right? So now you need to pass this x and y values, right? So these are dynamic values. xy. See, as we are already giving it here, you don't have to specify it here. So we need to get the x and y values, right? So how do you get that is, so in the function, you need to specify that x and y are the arguments which are mandatory. You need to pass them so that the calculation will be successful. So calculation x and y. So I've just copy pasted it, and whenever the variables are dynamic, I've just placed in the argument of a function. Okay. So now what I can do is I can just remove this statement. These two statements are similar, right? I can even remove this, and I've also done this particular statement in the function. I'll just remove this as well. So now, how do you execute this particular calculation? Is so calculation. You need to call this function. This is called function definition. You are defining some function that you need to multiply that with 2 and divisible by 100. So that's a calculation that you have defined. Now you need to calculate values. What are the values? 2 and 3. What it is stored in x and y, right? So how you call, you need to call the function as calculation of bracket open. You need to call x and y. So whenever this is getting executed, it will be executed in the top to bottom approach. So it will assign the variable. It has been assigned the variable here, and now JavaScript has identified a function call. It has identified a function. So it will search for that function first. Rather executing these two statements, it will search for the function. So it will find the function here, and it will try to execute these two things. As x value is 2 is passed here, so 2 value will be passed here and 3 value will be passed here. So this gets executed and this will get printed. Now, if you wanted to even print the second one as well, right? So what you need to do is similar thing, calculation of, at this point of time, what you need, you don't want x and y now. You want to send a and b, right? So you just need to write a comma b. Okay. You might be thinking, this is x comma y, right? Why are we using a comma b here, right? So this is independent of this x and y. Okay. We can use anything else as well. Let's say q and w. Let's use q and w here. So as you have used q and w, let's replace everywhere. So there is the, and that's not given anywhere up, right? So I'm just using the same as is. So now what you're doing, you need to pass two arguments, right? First here you have passed x comma y, then you have got this calculation. That calculation will be done, and then again it will return here, and then again it will execute the next statements. Now a equals to b, b equals to 20, a equals to 10, b equals to 20. Again it will call the calculation function. So this is called calling a function. This is called definition of a function. Okay. So a comma b, it will be passed here. So q will become a, q value will become 10, and w will be 20. So that will be assigned. It will do the calculation and it will print the particular formula. You see this? So this formula got executed successfully. Now, let's say your formula got changed. Now, rather into 2, you need to do into 3. So what you need to do, you're just doing it here in the function, inside the function, and you're not changing, you don't have to change anything here, right? Because you have enclosed that particular formula in calculation and you're calling that particular function here. Right? So when I press enter, it will execute in the similar way. So here you have reduced the rewriting of the code. Functions are basically used to reduce the rewriting of the code. Okay. So here what we are doing, we are printing the statement here, right? Console.log. We are printing it here itself. Let's say we don't want it to print here. We want it to print here. So whatever the calculation that we have, that we wanted to get here, not in the function itself. So I just wanted to do the calculation here. So whatever the result I get, I wanted to print it at this line. So you wanted to return some value from this function, right? So what is that particular value? That is z. You want to return this z whenever the function is called. So you just need to write return return space that particular value, which is z. So if I write console.log of that particular function, I'll be getting whatever the z value is there, right? That gets printed here. The same thing here as well, console.log. So rather printing it here, I'm just calculating it, I'm just returning the value. Because calculation, we are just calculating, we are not using it for printing purpose. So for printing, I'm just using directly here. So I'm just printing enter. So there's the value that you have to. So what is the use of this is, let's say there are two people. So let's say X and Y is one person's details and A and B is other person's details. So let's say for the first person you wanted to give an addition of 20%. So for the second person you wanted to give 30% of the 30 percent of that particular returned value. So in this way, that is getting changed, right? So one person you're giving 20 and one other person you're adding up 30, right? So you can't do the calculation here because again the values are getting changed. So for this purpose, what we do is var c equals to, I'm just storing it in a variable, and here I'll say console.log of the first person, I'll just add 30 to it. And for the second person, I want you to add var c equals to this and console.log of c plus uh, sorry c plus 20. Okay. So this can be anything. I have already used the right, so you can always use here as well. So that comes under course concept. Let's not discuss that. So you can reuse that particular variable as well. This variable is different, and whatever the variable that is there in the function, that variable value will be different. So you can reuse it here as well. Okay. So as you are calculating it here, let's see what comes here. So for the first person, 30 got added. For the second person, 20 got added. Okay. So in this way, you will be able to uh, call the functions and return the values from a function. Right. Next. Uh, so by this, we have completed the concepts of basic JavaScript. So I want you people to learn few other topics as well before entering into service now. Because you people have to practice everything. So I recommend going to this W3 schools. And I've covered maximum of the required topics, but you need to have few more uh, experience as well. For that, what you people have to do is just go to this W3 schools and click on this JavaScript so that this will be opened up. And you have the statements here where you have the statement declarations and all. So wherever you find let, replace that with var. We are not using let in service now. We'll be only using var as we are practicing till now. Okay. So that's one thing. And also, whenever you see this document.getElementID of demo.innerHTML, so always replace this with console.log. So just click on try it yourself. So you have whatever the script that we are writing, right? So that will be inside the script section. You don't have to learn all this HTML part. The only part you need to consider is this. Okay, inside the script section where the JavaScript gets executed. So again, there is a new concept again. which is .inner HTML and all. You don't have to learn all these. Just empty that and write alert or write console.log. So alert will give you in the alert box here. If you wanted to get it in the console, just click on run, click on inspect, click on console. I'll just minimize this. Here you have console, right? The same one which we are using. Just clear everything and run it again. You see here? So as we have written console.log, it is getting printed here, right? So let's say console.log of 1 plus 2. Let's print that and check. You'll get some messages here, just ignore them. 1 plus 2. Run it. So you'll be getting 3 as a value, right? So whenever you have this particular kind of statements, just replace everything with alert. So this particular string has to be placed in the alert message. And this we have already discussed. You can even declare variables in this way rather writing 3 separate statements. You can even say var a comma b comma c, so that you are declaring the statement and then you are assigning the values here. Okay, so this way as well you'll be able to declare and then assign the values. So these topics we have covered already. So start with the JS statements, and we have JS syntax, where we have seen how to declare a variable and how to assign a value. That's what has been given here. So there are 2 different types here given, which are numbers and strings. So strings can be quoted in double quotes or the single quote. This also we have discussed. Just click on try it yourself and experience what the result is. Okay. Next, we have comment section. So whenever you write some code, right, you need to explain that particular code, like what that code does. That code won't be like whatever the description you're giving, right? That should not be executed. So for that, what you need to do is you need to have comments incorporated in that. So let's say if you have this particular thing, what you're doing here, this program, I'll just write comments here. This program is used to calculate two values with formula, this one. I'll just write it as comments, some of the other comments. So whenever, before looking into this program, before looking into this code, what the other developer will understand, or if you have developed the code and see it after a year, you'll quickly understand that whatever the code that you have written is to calculate two values with the formula this particular thing, right? So in this way, you will be able to write the comments. That comments won't be executed. You see that the result is same. The comments are used to show what the program is doing. Okay, so uh, it will be a good practice to write comments in each section. Okay, so let's say at the Z level, what you're doing here, you're calling the function, right? So here you can add the comments, calling function. So what you're doing it here, so same here, calling function. What is this whole thing called? This is called function definition, right? So I'll write it here saying function definition. So in this way, it will be clear for everyone, whoever looking at the code. Let's say if you wanted to have multiple lines, 2-3 lines of statements, which you wanted to add as a comment. Let's say this program is created by, so that way you wanted to write. So let's say created by, let's say I'm just writing Sai, and the next line you want to write purpose. So in this way, you want to write multiple lines. So in that case, rather writing double slashes, what you can do is you can write slash star, and then till here you're specifying that, right? So you can just end that with slash and star. Sorry, star and slash. So between these, whatever is there, it won't be executed. So this will be used if you have multiple lines of statement. You can write whatever you want here. This won't get executed. So I'll just press enter. The result will be normal. So that's what is all about the comment section, the commenting part. So that's what has been given here. So just go through these things as well. And next, you have JS variables. So at present, we are only using var. We are not using let, const, or nothing. We are not using all these. We are just using var. That's it. So you can ignore this JS let, JS const, these two things. So let's go to JS operators. So equals to is an operator where we are assigning the value, right? So that we have discussed. So we no need to use let here. We will be using var. So similar thing. Plus is another operator. Multiplication is another operator, which we have already seen. You need to practice this as well. And arithmetic. So here we have arithmetic operations of plus, minus, multiplication, exponential. So this we won't be using it. We have division, we have modulus. We have seen this where we want to get the remainder. We'll be doing this. We have increment operator. Let's say you are incrementing from 1 to 10 by 1, right? So if you write I plus plus, it's incrementing by 1. If you wanted to do it from 10 to 1, what you're doing from 10, it should be 9 and then it should be 8, right? So at that particular time, what you will be writing is for var, let's say you want to print the numbers from 10 to 1. So what is the first value from 10 to 1, right? Var I equals to 10. First value is 10. Till where I should be less than or equals to 1. Next, what should happen? One value should be decreased. I minus minus. So one value will be decreasing. So I'll just write console.log of I. So here, first the value will be 10, 9, 8. Oh, what happened? Console.log. It's undefined. Uh, okay. Sorry, it should not be it should be greater than or equals to, because the value will be 10, right? So 10 should be greater than or equals to 1. That's what we need to validate, right? So that, as you are decreasing, you need to say from 10, 10 value should be greater than or equals to 1. So 9 is greater than 1. So the condition should satisfy, right? So you need to write I greater than or equals to 1. So from 10, whenever it has to reduce, you need to write greater than or equals to. Whenever it is reducing, let's say like increasing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you need to write greater than or less than or equals to. Okay. So now if I print, so you see here 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So what you people have to do is print a table in a reverse order from 10 to 1 so that you'll understand this concept. Okay. So that's how as I minus minus will be used as a decrement statement. So these are all statements which we have seen already. So just practice all these: multiplication, division, remainder, incrementing operator, decrementing operator. How do you do it? Exponential is not required. If you want to practice, you can practice this math.pow. So these are the basic things that we need in the arithmetic. Assignment operators. Uh, you can just practice this. If you have any doubts, please let me know. I'll explain this part as well. But if you have any doubts, please post it in the comments so that I'll be explaining in the next class. So we have data types. We have seen string, number, is done. Big int is not required. Boolean value. Mm, okay. So what is Boolean value is, let's say in an if condition where x equals to 1. So you have this. Let's say if you are checking if x equals to 1, you're checking, right, whether this is 1 or not. So what value you get? You get true or false, right? That's what you get. So if I try to print this particular x equals to 1 dot log uh, x equals to 1. If you try to print it, you'll get a Boolean value, which is true or false. True or false is called a Boolean value. Okay. So you can even assign a Boolean value to a variable as well. Let's say var x equals to true. So in this way, let's print console.log of x. So you'll get the Boolean value printed as well. So you even have true or false as Boolean value. So if you give this and double quotes, it won't be a Boolean value. Okay. You need to always give Boolean values without the double quotes. Okay. So that's what is about Boolean value. We have undefined, where if there is no value, let's say I've just defined var x, and if I try to print console.log of x, uh, let's say some variable name, as we are using console, right, it will even take the previous values as well. You see here, this is the variable name and it is stating as undefined because there is no value assigned to it, right? If I assign some value, then it will print that particular value. So whenever a variable doesn't have any value, so its basic value will be null, sorry, undefined, because there is no value defined for that particular variable. Okay. So you also have null, where if you don't want it to assign anything, either a number or a string or an empty string, then you can define var null, var test, let's say var x equals to, let's say you don't want to give any value to it. So you don't even want to give a double quotes as well or 0 as well. Then what you can do is you can just specify null. Okay. So that the value will be empty. That's it. So that's how the null thing, null data type is there. So we have seen object, we have seen an array, and there is another data type called date, which we'll be seeing in the later classes. So just practice whatever we have discussed in the data types. So whatever you see here, so these people have used let and const. So replace this let and const with var, so that everything is same. Okay. So this you need to practice, and we have seen functions as well. Okay. So there are different types of functions. So they have given the same example, similar example that we have discussed. So if you go through it, you'll understand. So again here, if you see, they have written this particular statement. So rather writing this, write just alert of this particular thing, so that you'll get the exact result whatever you're expecting. And objects. So you see here, car is an object, and if you want to define that particular properties, you can define it here. So that's what we've discussed here, and which we have even discussed. Just go through this as well. So you don't have to see this events thing, as we are not into JavaScript. We don't have to see this events. Next, go to strings. This part also we have discussed. Just go through it. If you wanted to get the length of that particular text, you just need to write text.length, as we are getting the array length by using array dot array variable name dot length, right? In the same way, if you wanted to get the length of that particular variable, you just need to write that variable dot length, so that you'll be able to get the length of that particular string. Okay, so you have this double quotes thing. So let's say var test equals to uh, let's say you wanted to use an apostrophe. Okay. I have a sentence. Let's say testing apostrophe s, which means I need to give a single quote there. So let's say I wanted to give a double quote here. I wanted to print a double quote in between G and S. How do I need to print? If I try to press enter, it won't take it, because what we have discussed, wherever we have text, we need to enclose that between double quotes or a single quote. So in this case, what has happened? JavaScript got confused, stating that what is string, because there is a string and this is what is this. That's what it's getting confused. So we need to specify this as to print that particular double quotes. Don't treat that as a string specifying component. So for that, rather using double quotes here, let's enclose this in single quotes. Okay. So now what happens? This whole thing will be treated as string, as you have enclosed that in a single quote. So now console.log of test. It will be printing the double quotes as well here. Okay. Let's say you wanted to even use single quotes as well in between. How do you do it? So to avoid this kind of situations, we have a concept called escaping character, which means we are telling that don't treat this as a string specifying uh, keyword. Don't take this as a keyword to specify as a string. So for that, you just need to write a backslash. Okay, so that whatever comes next to it, it won't treat that as a key. Okay, so now what happens is whatever this single quote is there, that gets printed as it is. You see here, the single quote is getting printed. The same with double quotes as well. Let's say I've printed this as double quotes. I'll get an error because I have a double quotes here in between and it's getting confused again. So to escape that particular double quote, I just need to write a backslash so that this will be printed. Okay, you don't have to write a backslash here because this whole thing is enclosed in a double quotes, right? So you don't have to specify a backslash here. So this is how it gets printed. So that's called a escaping character. Right? Next, you have few more things as well. Let's say you have uh, a statement. My first name is Sai. My last name is Finish. Okay. So you have this. So whenever I try to print it, what's happening? It's printing in a single line, right? I don't want to be printed in a single line. What I need to do, I need to get it in the next line, right? So to get it in the next line, you need to write \n, which means new line. You wanted a new line, so how that gets executed is this is treated as a string. As it has found a escaping character, it sees what is the next character. It is n, right? So it will think that that is a new line, and then it will print this in the next line. So if I press enter, you see here, this got printed in the next line. Let's say you wanted to give a tab. Okay. So for that, what you need to do is rather writing /n, you need to give /t so that a tab space will be added here. See here. So a tab space, so a tab space will be added to that particular text. Okay. Let's say you wanted to make a backspace. So you have few other things as well that has been specified here. Just practice these as well so that you'll understand what is the difference between each thing. And if you have any questions, just feel free to post it in the comments. I'll be responding for that. And you have string methods. So this is a bit important. So which you need to practice as you have got to know how to write a script. You will be uh, uh, you'll be feeling free to use these particular functions. So just go through this. If you're not getting, write it in the comments or provide it in the feedback form, which is given in the description section, so that we will go through that, whatever the issues you have. Okay. You have string search. So this also you need to practice. String templates ignore. Numbers you need to practice. And also you have this, you can ignore all these. You have this JS arrays, right? So we have already discussed about arrays, but you have few methods as well. Let's say if you wanted to get, if you wanted to, mm, 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 let's say if you wanted to add an element into an array, how do you add it? If you wanted to remove an element, how do you remove it? So you have push and pop methods. Okay. So that you need to learn. So we have JS array methods which are important. So you people have to learn these as well. Okay. If you have any questions, please feel free to add it in the comment section. So these are the basics of JavaScript. And tomorrow we will be seeing the overview of ServiceNow, why we are using ServiceNow, what is ServiceNow, and why do you need to use it. And then we will see how to create a table and how to create few fields. And then we will convert this JavaScript into ServiceNow scripting. Okay. So yeah, the last time, I mean, please post the comments in the feedback form. And also, I have uh, uh, I've updated the form actually. So where previously we only used to have the first and second sections, right? So I've updated the session links. So first session is done and second session is also done. So third session and fourth session, we have two more sessions. So add this particular things to your calendar so that you get reminded tomorrow and day after tomorrow as well. Okay, it will be at the same time. Please add this to the calendar. So I've even updated the links to join. Yeah, that's it. Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining.